Hari Om, good evening, a very warm welcome to all of you. Please come on this auspicious day of Dasara. Let's pray together. Navratri rather, the sixth day of Navratri. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya. Sahana vavatu sahano bhunakto sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. O Lord the Almighty, the Omniscient, the Omnipotent, the Omnipresent, together with Shraddha, Bhakti and Prapatti, we offer our humble salutations to seek your grace, your love, your benevolence, your affection, your compassion, your forgiveness, your strength. O Lord, bless us with the divine qualities like Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, Prapatti, Mumukshutvam in much larger proportion, only and only to understand thy true self. In our very hearts, as a self-experience, aparokshanubhuti, we beseech in you to grant us this rare privilege which we all have been yearning for, and we pray that at the end of our lives we reach thy heavenly abode, thy lotus feet. Our salutations to the Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. Today, by the grace of the Almighty and with the blessings of the Guru Parampara, we are on our Divine Discourse 397 on the 8th of October 2024, Krodinama Samvatsara Dakshinayane Sharadrutu Ashvayujamasa Shukla Pakshe Bhaumavasare Panchamayatito Jyeshta Nakshatra Ayushman Yoge Balavakarane. On this 6th auspicious day of Navaratri and the auspicious time of the evening, we invoke special grace and blessings from the Divine Mother and the Almighty as we take a vow Naham Karta Hari Karta Hari Preranaya Hari Prityartha. I profoundly believe that whatever is happening in my life, be it by situations, circumstances, occasions, incidents, happenings, through a person or an object or in a place, I firmly believe that it is orchestrated by the Divine Lord Himself. To the few chosen ones like us who have believed in Him, only and only to uplift the soul from the ocean of births and deaths. We clearly understand the Lord's moves without questioning a wee bit. We embrace all that comes to us in our lives with sincerity, devotion, faith, and complete surrender and acceptance. O Lord, give me the strength to keep continuing on these lines and always be united with you. Our humble salutations to the Guru Parampara once again. Om Tat Sat. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you. So, now we are seeing Lord Krishna is taking us towards the knowledge of unification. Unification in the sense from the individual as a jiva and he as a Paramatma, how one should be united. See, by his own power of Maya, by his own power of Aham Bhava, which is one of the most critical elements of the Sukshma Sharira, of the 19 aspects, the last and the most profound one comes, the Aham Bhava, Ahankara. So where he has separated, this jiva thinks that it is separate from the Lord. Now he talks of the oneness. It's good to recall over here, once when Lord Rama and Hanumanji were together, by the seva of Hanumanji, Lord Rama was so very much impressed. And he says, where was I and where were you? And how is it that we have got so close to each other? And he says, I don't understand, what is our relationship? What is the relationship between us? Now to this, the so-called what we call as Vanara, he tells Sri Rama, he gives an answer in the following way. Deha buddhyat tava dasoham. From the body perspective, I am your servant. Jiva buddhyat tum amshakam. From the perspective of the jiva, I am a fraction of you. I am a portion of you. Atma buddhyat tvamevaham, he says. Atma buddhyat tvamevaham. From the perspective of the Atma, I am you, you are me. We both are one. See, that's what we are now trying to understand. He gives this emphatically to Sri Rama. So now if you see, in verse 24 and 25, what we understand is, to attain that inner peace, one must get off the worldly desires. And how do you get off the worldly desires? You have to control your senses. And then is that enough? Along with the senses we have got mind. So then it says that you have to control your thoughts. And having controlled your thoughts with that determination, now you have to completely devote that mind, soak it into divinity, and be there. Any shortcuts in this is definitely not going to work. Let me tell you honestly, if at all you want to achieve this goal, you cannot do without coming out of attachment, without coming out of desires, without coming out of your vasanas. This is a must. Now, if you don't do it now, later on, at some point of time in this life or next life or whatever life, you will have to do, and then only you will get this. I'm not going to be kind over here. I'm telling it point blank. Because this is a rare privilege, an extremely rare privilege of few. Only those who have got the capacity to devote themselves completely, only they can be established. You can't bargain over here. Okay, I'll little bit I'll do towards the world, and then do whatever you want for the world, but in the spirit of the divine. That is what we need to understand over here. Everything you do, first thing is you understand that I am not the doer, naham karta. Stick to this one principle and you can sail over, no doubt about it. But you have to mean what you have said. So in 24 and 25 he said this. Now he says, look, your mind can be a little restless now and then. Bring it back. Don't worry, I'm there with you. If it goes somewhere, bring it back. Maintain your focus. Now let's say you're writing something, and when you're writing, you have a child at home who's coming and pulling your hand, saying come, to play. Now if the child is pulling your arm, how can you write? So this is what exactly the senses do. They pull your mind again and again. As far as you're not able to focus your hand holding the pen and the pen firmly on the book, you will not be able to write. So you have to take control of your hand and the pen, which means your senses and the mind, and with that focus you can move ahead. So in verse 27 he says, such a yogi who has got calm mind and restrained passions. See, passion is the quality of a rajasic person who always wants to achieve more, who always wants to get things. Now you have to come to the sattvic stage, and then you can go to the next level. So, restrained passions. He said, if you are rajasic, it won't work. And then also he further says that you should be living a virtuous life, where of course profound joy is a part of your life, because you are now soaked in that divinity. And when you are in that state, you are recognizing that interconnectedness of everything within and outside, interconnected with the divine. So, by mastering in this way, verse 28 he says, as you master yourself in this way, you have aligned yourself with the divine. This yogi, he frees himself from the material distractions and he discovers that ultimate bliss. So right here you have been granted what you have been struggling all your time in life. What is our struggle? I want peace, I want happiness, I want bliss. Bliss we don't ask, peace and happiness. But what we get later is a much bigger gift for us. But before that, God has already given. Take it. Now, why I was saying brutally that you have to have this control over your senses and mind is simply because your assessment takes place at the end, at one point where you have reached a stage of that you are aiming for that aparoksha anubhuti sadhana. Now many of the sadhaks who have been intensively doing the anatma bhava, they would have come to a stage where they have crossed over and they are reaching a state of samadhi. Higher and higher, higher and higher, they are raising their mind. And why is it that I am not able to have that experience? If someone is able to have that experience, even I should be able to have that experience. Now, what Swami Vivekananda says over here is, all we can do is polish the mirror. When someone asked him this question, we are all thriving in the same direction, in the same manner, but see, he is experiencing something else, I am not experiencing that. He says, all we can do is polish the mirror. Meaning, mirror means your mind. Now, where does the enlightenment occur? In the mind. So, unless you have cleansed your mirror to the optimum, but unless and until the Lord appears before the mirror, you cannot see anything in the mirror. So that's all we can do. If you have a dirty mirror, let anything come in front of it, you will not be able to experience that divinity. But at best we can clean and polish the mirror to the ultimate level, and it is up to the Lord to come and stand in front of it. So where can you expect this, and how can you expect? When you have given up the most loveliest things of the life, of your life. Yes, you have to forego, you have to give up, you have to understand. Then only one by one everything will fall in place. But you cannot keep your legs on two boats and sail. So what we can do? Purify the mind through ethical and selfless life. We can focus the mind through meditation. We can tune our mind listening through to doing Vedantic studies, listening to Vedantic discourses, and then begin to realize what is being said. Because here reflection in the mirror is totally dependent on the object or the reality in front of it. If the object is not there in front of the mirror, although the mirror is clean, the reflection will not be there. Object has to come in front of it. So in this way, we have to bear in mind that this sadhana is extremely important, without which we will not be able to. This sacrifice, yes. A person preparing for the IIT exams or the IIM exams, or even for these IAS, all these students, you see, they start from class 11, 12. They literally don't go for holidays. They don't hang around with their friends. See, they say college days are the best days in life. Where do they have these best days? They have dedicated themselves for a cause. So in the same way, a few years of your life, and then you will start experiencing that joy which anybody doing all sorts of vagaries in life, they will not be experiencing that joy and bliss. That kind of a joy and bliss one will start experiencing when connected with the divine. So now we'll see how this yogi, he behaves in the world. We will get to that. Come. We'll listen to verse 29. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Sarvabhutastatatmanam Sarvabhutani Chatmani Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma Sarvatra Samadarshanaha. So here in verse 29, when a yogi sees the Supreme Soul in all living beings, and also he sees all the living beings in the Supreme Soul. In other words, such yogis, they unite their consciousness with God. Yes, what is my consciousness? This awareness what I have got. I say it is not mine. This consciousness is coming from the reality or the consciousness which has pervaded the universe. So he sees no difference between this. This is another way of seeing. Where, like there is sunlight, sun up there in the sky, and it is shining on each and every object on this planet. It's not saying that I'm going to shine on India a little more and on some other country a little less. No. If it is giving sunlight, it is just giving sunlight. Depending on the distance, each and every country will have their own experience. So with that equal eye, all living beings, he sees in God and God in all living beings. See, during festivals and during this what we call as car festivals, basically in villages, carnivals what we say. So you must have seen there are small shops, they sell sugar candies, and these sugar candies, I have seen this maybe 40-50 years ago. I don't see them now. So these small sugar candies, they used to have various forms. It could have the form of an elephant, a tiger, a lion, a car, a plane, a ship, and or a bat, likewise. Now, one child, he comes with his father, and he tells his father, I want a lion, I want a lion. Now that shopkeeper, because he saw one of his friends passing by, he had a lion in his hand, sugar candy. So he says, now I also must get a lion. So the shopkeeper asked the father asked the shopkeeper, okay, give me a sugar candy, a lion sugar candy. The shopkeeper searches and he says, sir, we are out of stock on lion. Please take whatever else you want, elephant or whatever. Now the child is not ready to listen. He says, I want a lion. Now see, the father is telling the child, beta, this is sugar, everything is sugar. You take a ship, you take a aeroplane, you take a bat, you take a lion, you take a cat, you take a mouse or a rat, whatever it is all sugar. But this child doesn't understand. So stubborn, I want this. He has stuck to that form where he is not looking at the essence. So similarly, the ingredient of whatever we are seeing, experiencing in this world is all made out of that Sat, existence, Chit, consciousness, and Ananda is bliss. These are the three basic qualities of that which pervades the entire universe. So, this is what one has to now understand. Whatever you see, one has to get into that mode, and this comes by practice. Let me tell you, initially I was also not able to understand this. What are they saying? This fellow is a crook, and that person is a very pious person. How can both be same? Like, as you say, no, you take a cat instead of a lion. How can both be same? Cat is a cat, lion is a lion. No. When you look at the essence, both are same. So what they are made up of, their primary driving force is that consciousness and consciousness alone. I will give you about 3 metaphors, because this aspect is very crucial for our growth on the spiritual path. Try to understand this properly. You have the ocean and the waves. Like, as Hanumanji said, Atma Buddhyat Tvamevaham, he said. At the level of Atma, you and me are not different, we both are one. He tells Sri Rama in that way. Now, when you take the metaphor of the ocean and the waves, now the ocean represents the Supreme Soul, the Paramatma, and the waves represent the individual living beings. So although each and every wave has a different size, a different shape, a different appearance, velocity, but fundamentally they form a part of the same ocean. So a true yogi sees every wave as an expression of the ocean, and the ocean itself within every wave. So this kind of a perception of that unity in the midst of that diversity, that is what it exemplifies how the vision of a yogi to see God in all living beings, and all living beings in God, and God in all living beings. In fact, there's one very powerful definition in the Upanishads about this Supreme Almighty Brahman. There he says, now the sadhak has realized himself, and he says, Mayananta Maham Bodho Ascharyam Jiva Vichikitsayah Udyanti Nanti Kelanti Pravishanti Swabhavataha. He says, now what is his understanding? I am that infinite ocean of existence consciousness. In me, these wonderful entities, all these called, so-called living beings, they arise as the waves. And what do? They play. Kelanti. They arise meaning Nanti. Kelanti, they play. And then they fight. They fight. They love. They marry. They give divorce. They form organizations. Then they fight. Then they divide these organizations. War, envy, jealousy, pravishanti. Eventually, they all subside back into the ocean, which I am. So, meaning here, this Upanishad clearly, by the metaphor of this waves and ocean, it shows that I myself have appeared as a ocean in the form of different waves. I am no different. This is one way of understanding. Second way, imagine you are walking through an art gallery. Now you have so and so. Okay, let's say some Shamsher Khan. Okay, one art gallery where he as an artist, now all his paintings are displayed. Now each and every painting is depicting a different scene, having a different color combination, and also going by a different theme. Now, although all the paintings are diverse in nature, but they are all created by that one same artist. Now, when you appreciate the artist's unique style and vision in every piece you see, you recognize that the artist is present in every artwork. Understand this carefully. You are seeing different paintings, but you know who is the person there? Arey, this belongs to the Shamsher Khan, one of the most renowned artists of today. So, in the same way, a yogi, he sees that divine presence in every form of life and recognizes all life as an expression of the same supreme artist. Now, this is the bent of mind you need actually. You have to practice. People who hate you are going to hate you. You cannot stop them. People who love you, most welcome. That is, anybody can accept love, but nobody will accept hate. So once you start seeing that artist behind every painting, in the same way you have to look at every entity on this in this world in that manner. Now another third one, I'm just trying to tell in different manners. Now you are a chef, a renowned chef again. Now you are making a dish. Now in that you have various spices, vegetables, grains, lentils, so many things. Now each ingredient has its own characteristics, and when they are combined, they create a unique flavor. Now you as a skilled chef, you understand how much ingredient contributes to the overall taste. Similarly, a yogi perceives all living beings as nothing but unique expressions of the divine essence. Now, understanding that despite the apparent differences, see, salt, sugar cannot be the same. Chili powder and honey cannot be the same. But he knows that just like all these which made that dish to its perfect level, in the same way that there is one person who has put everything together to get this beautiful dish. So that way we have to have that eye. Don't look at the outer form. Okay, if you're transacting with him, you need to, in the world, whatever needs to be taken care, you do that. But otherwise, keep transacting with the essence in mind. So this is what this particular shloka completely talks about. One being focused on the seeing that essence. So where you see Lord in every being and every being in the Lord and Lord alone. Now we move on to verse 30. Come. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yo Mam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvam Cha Mayi Pashyati Tasyaham na pranashyami Sachame na pranashyati. So now here what we can understand is it's a continuation of the same concept. For those who are able to see me everywhere and see all things in me, now he says, this is what we understood from the previous shloka. He says, I am never lost, or nor they are lost to me. He is giving the result. In the sense, If you are engaged in this kind of a thought, let's make an attempt. One has to start baby steps. Just start looking at the essence. In each and every living and non-living, I'm going one step ahead, living and non-living, one common factor is an atom. And what are the common aspects in an atom? As we all know, proton, neutron, electron. So we are all made up of atoms. Just bear that one thing in mind, that whatever their form is, it is nothing but eventually an atom. He tells, if you are having that in your mind, constantly looking for me, then I am there with you. Even though you lose me, I will not lose you. Now, let's take up some practical examples. Someone hurts us, okay? Brutally they hurt us. They yell at us. They talk bad things about us. They literally, they spoil our sleep, okay? Now, when we listen to such things, immediately they say, my blood starts boiling. This is one of the very, very common statements we listen to. Now it is the nature of the mind to develop a kind of a feeling, a sentiment, an emotion of complete hatred and resentment. Okay. Whenever anybody harms you, now, instead of thinking about that person, immediately look at God and said, oh, God is testing me through this person. He wants me to increase the virtue of tolerance in me. Titiksha, what we call. Titiksha is bearing the pinpricks of life. Here and there you will get pinpricks. You will have to bear it in a calm and peaceful manner. He says, oh, I understand this is coming from the Lord. He is trying to inspire me through this person who is trying to behave so badly with me that I get disturbed. But now I am going to show to my loving Lord that I am not going to get disturbed. Now what did you do over here? In that horrible situation, you brought in Lord, you took it as a challenge, and you said, I am not going to get disturbed. It so happened that once Buddha, who had gone for Bhiksha, now Buddha was well built, handsome, young, and he goes and says, Bhikshande, One lady, I don't know what was her mindset, she came and she started yelling at Buddha. Says, what has happened to you? You are not a handicap, nor you are old, nor you are diseased or ill. Why are you begging? And she abused him. Like in terms of whatever she could scold, she scolded. Now the Shishyas were there along with Buddha. They also heard this. Buddha was calm. He went to the next house. He obviously got to know that this lady is not going to give any bhiksha other than scolding. Next house he got some food and his job is over. He went back. Now in the ashram, these disciples asked, they were feeling very bad. They said 2-3 of them were murmuring. And Buddha calls them and says, what are you people talking? He said, see this, what happened in the afternoon when so-and-so incident, we are terribly disturbed and we want to ask you, how were you calm in spite of all this? He says, Buddha tells them that, look, she told me something, but I've still not taken it. Nothing is with me. I've still not taken it. I have yet to decide when to take it. So that is the control over the mind. So here that same principle, what we have to say, this is not that person who is telling this. This is God has sent me, given me an incident. What we pray, all incidents, happenings, occasions, they all coming to us only to uplift, meaning this is one of the methods which unless and until we pass these tests, we cannot rise in life. So this is one issue, one way where we have to think of the Lord, where somebody abuses you. Now, another situation in our life, sometimes we get close to somebody. It could be your child. As the child is growing, you start getting closer and closer to the child, or to your parents, or to your spouse, your friend or relative. Now what happens when you start getting close? Again and again, the thought of the Lord, now that thought goes away. Now your mind thinks of that person. It's a very common thing which happens to all of us. Now what we have to do in this point is, immediately whomever you have got attached to and towards whomever your mind is going, immediately look at the Lord seated in him profoundly. Start seeing the reflection of the Lord in that person. And now, since that Lord is there in this person, I am feeling attracted. See, that attraction is not towards a jiva. You contributed it to saying, oh Lord, seated in that person, you are attracting me so much. So this attraction is by that Lord and Lord alone and nothing else. So you're not forgetting. See, when somebody hates you, you get angry. Yes, you forget. The mind takes over and you forget the Lord. But when somebody who is dear to you, your mind filled with love, there also you forget. But in both situations, now how you have, once you know this knack, or you can call it a hack also. Mind was trying to play with you, but now you have started playing against the mind. Third incident. Your mind is lost in the past. Something sometime has gone wrong and it again comes back to your mind. And then when that thing is happening in your mind, you had decided that I'll do so much of jap today, I will do so much of dhyan today. Now all that has gone for a toss, all your jap, all your dhyan. But then now you have to say, this Lord has deliberately made me experience this kind of a difficulty. Because past event, you have lost something, you have lost somebody. Now he's trying to give me that sense of detachment. Yes, you have lost. Okay, now accept that what you have lost. Eventually, objects or person, they are bound to change from time to time. Now understand this carefully. Objects or a person or a place, they are bound to change from time to time. And if you are attached to that person to such an extent that what happens eventually when the person changes, when the place changes, or when the object changes, you get unhappy. Be good to everybody, take care of everybody, but what should happen is if that person is not there, if that person changes, you should not get worried. So here he tells us, develop this quality of not lamenting over what you have lost. In fact, in Narada Bhakti Darshan, Lokahano Chintana Karya Niveditatma Loka Vedatvat. He says, when you suffer a reversal in this world, do not lament or brood over it. See the grace of God in every incident. See, this is so good to understand. In fact, if I have to elaborate on this, he says, Lokahano. Lokahano means where you are sent in exile. These are the olden days, right? You are said, Gadipar, what they say, you are thrown out of the country, of the kingdom. Or Vyadi, he gives you a terrible disease. Or he snatches away your money. your business, your profession. He snatches away your relatives. He creates some kind of a disputes when your near and dear ones. It could be right from your spouse till a distant relative with your friends. So this way the Lord, He says, why? Because you are so much involved in that. That's why I want you. If you are going to keep doing that and that alone, I am going to give you this shock, and so that you will come to me. This incident tells me one of my relatives, they make cakes. Now the mother is all the time making cakes. And once I so heard that the mother got several orders at one point. Like, you have some days like the New Year or Christmas and these kind of time, there are more orders. Now she is constantly engaged in fulfilling all the orders, to execute the orders, and she is not speaking to her child. He is about 4-5 years old. Now the child is again and again coming and telling the mother, come, come, come. You are not coming at all. Since morning you're in this room making cakes. Come. Now finally, you know what the child tells the mother? This is the last time I'm calling you. If you don't come, I'm going to smash all these cakes, what you have made. This is exactly what the Lord is telling over here. It's not of one life. We don't know since how many lives He is calling us. But we are engrossed in whatever belongings we have. Belongings in the sense, our relationship, our wealth, our achievements, our glory. We're only interested in this. So understand that any reversal is nothing but a call from the Lord. I am calling you, please come. Never brood over it. Understand it in the right way. In fact, Draupadi, the PANCHA KANYA, what we were talking, amongst the 5 Mahakanyas, Kunti Devi happens to be one. Sorry, not Draupadi, Kunti Devi. This is a situation where now Yudhishthira has become the Samrat. The Mahabharata war is over, the Rajasuya Yajna is done. He becomes the emperor. Now Lord Krishna is bidding farewell to everyone. He comes to Kunti and he says, Boa, time is up now. I'll take your leave. Please bless me. I have to go. Then she says, he asks her, what do you want? She was not telling anything. She says, see Krishna, I have something to ask you. Says what? She says, Vipadas santuta shashvata tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yatsyad apunar bhava darshanam. Massive. This can tell you, if we can even get a bit of what Kunti Devi has in her mind, you will never see calamities as calamities. She says, let calamities come to me again and again, O Lord of the universe. Whenever they come, I have seen that you are there immediately with us. And when you are there with us, and when we are able to see you, that ensures that I am not going to be born again. That indirectly means I will come out of the liberation from the cycle of births and deaths. Now, to get this liberation from the cycle of births and death, what is the origin? Give me calamities. See, she's asking, give me, have we ever seen Kunti Devi having any kind of a good time in her life? Whole of Mahabharata, always she is suffering. When good times have come, now she is the Rajamata, but she says, give me calamities, because only then I am able to see you. See, there it is a different relationship. She is seeing him. But here what we can ask is, give me that decent amount of worries in my life so that I can keep thinking of you, because his mind is foolish. Unless and until it comes under worry, it does not think of you. Now, once you come out of that, where you are able to gain control over your mind, then you don't need to ask for calamities or difficulties or challenges in life, because your mind, in a happy, satisfied, contented state, it is constantly asking for the vision of the Lord. So this is Apunarbhava Darshanam. It emphasizes that idea of seeing and being close with Lord Krishna, which provides solace to her life. So this way one has to get established in that Lord. Which means he says, if you are constantly thinking of me, and we all have been at some point of the time or other constantly thinking of somebody. You see for yourself, from time to time the person may change, but there is some person or an object or a place which is hankering your mind. Not that we are not used to this. So objects, person, places, they keep changing, but this Lord is always one and the same. Now, so much you have yearned for somebody, they may leave you and go, because they have their own life, they go somewhere, or you may have to go to a different place, or that object may no longer be there with you, but you have got used to it. So that can be the case. But if you have developed that faith, devotion, love towards God, he says, even if it is lost, I am never lost to you. What more you want if you have God on your side? So in this particular verse, he reassures you, you keep thinking of me, and I will ensure that I will always be with you. Now quickly we'll talk about the 5 PANCHA KANYAS. Now why I wanted to discuss about this is, in this Brahma Purana, which is written by Sri Vedavyas ji, he says, Ahalya Draupadi Kunti Tara Mandodari Tatha Panchakanya Smaren Nityam Maha Pataka Nashanam. So he says, like if you remember these 5 Panchakanyas in your daily morning prayer, their names are good enough as a prayer, and they are called as Prata Smaranaya, morning prayer, and this can make you get rid of sins. So because they are such great souls who have taken birth on this planet, and they have been designated as the 5 noblest women. So I don't know how many we'll be able to cover, but yeah. So let's try to look at a few. Now first one, he talks of Ahalya. Okay. Ahalya is supposed, as we all know, she is the wife of Gautama Rishi. And one uniqueness of Ahalya is, like, you have an artist. He wants to create a masterpiece in terms of his art. Somewhere he gets to his mind, he says, now I'm going to create a masterpiece. So Brahma, when he wanted to create a masterpiece, he created Ahalya, they say, as his masterpiece for her flawless beauty. And now he creates her, and then he places her in Gautama Rishi's ashram. He says, okay, as a child I'm keeping her with you, and you take care of her. I'll pick her up at the right time. Now, when she attains puberty, at that point of time, he sees that, Gautama has restrained himself and kept that Ahalya in the appropriate manner. So being pleased with that, he says, now you are the most eligible person to marry her, and he marries them both. Now here what happens, over a period of time, the king of the Devas, Indra always says, the best has to be with me. That is his constant slogan. Whatever is there as the best in this creation, it has to be in my Indraloka. Now he knows that Ahalya, he has heard of her beauty, and then one day he comes and he sees her and is completely zapped. Now, how can I take her to Indralok? Not possible. But he says, I must enjoy her. And only way he realizes is, I must disguise myself as Gautama, and whatever I could, let me do that. So he has the power. So he disguises as Gautama and he goes and knocks the hut. Now, Ahalya is surprised. He said, you just now went to the river for your morning chores, and how come you came so fast? But he says, no, come, I'll tell you. And then he tells her inside that I want to have a sexual intercourse. Now, Ahalya is a little confused, because this is morning time and you as a rishi, you are so much into your penance and your sadhana, and how come? But as a wife, she accepted to it. Now, as Indra, this so-called Indra disguised as Gautama is coming out, Gautama Rishi comes towards the hut, and then he sees Ahalya and Indra, and he curses straight. See, this is what they call as anger. Whatever state you are, at some point anger comes to the forefront, and without thinking much, without reasoning, because when there is anger, there is no reasoning. That's the reason we should not talk or come out with anything, especially when you are angry. It's best to move away from there. So he immediately curses Ahalya and Indra, of course. And then she becomes a stone, and then later on, Lord Rama in the Treta Yuga, he touches the stone and she again comes back to her form. Now here, for her, she had not done anything wrong, because she thought it is Gautama. But the way she took everything with that resilience and with that her chastity, now she happens to be called as one of the Pancha Kanyas. Okay, now next comes Tara. As per the shloka, it comes as Tara. So, as we know, Tara is the queen consort of Kishkinda. And who is the king of Kishkinda? The Vanara king is Vali. And Vali and Sugriva were brothers. Now Tara is actually described as the daughter of the Vanara physician, the physician for the entire Vanara community, Sushena. It is in the Ramayana. And then what is her origin? She is supposed to be an Apsara. And what was her, from where did she come? From the Samudra Manthan, as we know about the churning of the ocean. So she comes from there. And then she marries Vali, and then they have a son known as Angada. Once it so happens that Vali was challenged with an Asura named Dundubi. He's a Mayavi primarily. And in that was a long battle, and he had told, they went into a cave, and he tells Sugriva that, okay, you be here at the entrance of the cave and let me have a fight with him. I'll kill him and come. And Sugriva, now there was some misconception. He thinks that his brother has died inside the cave, and then he comes back, and now he is the only brother, so he becomes the successor to the Vanara kingdom. So he is crowned as the king, and then the wife of Sugriva, who is Tara, now Tara becomes his wife. After some time, it so happens that Vali was not dead actually. It was a misconception. And Vali comes out of the cave. He sees that Sugriva is not there. Where has this guy gone? I had told him to be at the entrance of the cave. He's not there. So he comes back to his kingdom, and he sees that this fellow jolly well is married his wife and is enjoying over here. He gets terribly annoyed. and he gets into a fight with Sugriva. But now he discards him and he marries Sugriva's wife, in fact, Ruma. Now, Sugriva is completely injured and he has escaped and he has come from his brother. And he is in a kind of hiding in some place. Now that's when he meets Rama, and then Rama, Lakshmana along with Sugriva. Then Rama says, okay, now that I've heard your story, I'm going to help you, but in turn you have to help me to locate Sita. So it was a give and take policy. So they now Sugriva comes and he challenges Vali. That is now the importance of Tara over here is explained. Tara, she advises Vali not to accept this fight offer which has come from Sugriva, because he is already in alliance with Rama. But Vali does not pay heed. And then the fight happens, Vali dies, and he was so much upset with his brother. But there is a reconciliation at some point of time, as we know. Sugriva and Vali, they reconcile with each other, and Vali tells Sugriva that you follow Tara's instructions in all matters. That is his dying statement to his brother. So this is one of the areas where you can see what was Tara's importance. Second, what happens is, now after Vali has died and now Sugriva has married Tara and is completely lost in his pleasures. Now, Lakshmana gets wild at the situation, and when he wants to literally wipe them off, that's when Tara again, she reconciles with Lakshmana. She cools him down and she brings whatever situation had gone astray, she brings it together in a more friendly manner, and then the search for Sita starts. They also say that Tara casts a curse on Rama with the power of her chastity, and that's one of the things which they say. Okay, so this is about the second Mahakanya. We stop over here and we'll take the rest three in the next class. Okay, because we'll now come back to our sadhana. Aparoksha Anubhuti sadhana, we're going to talk about number 10. And what we have to focus is, we'll revisit the technique what we had seen. I had spoken to you about that 3D picture. Now what do you do actually there? The more intensely you focus on the picture, at one point you're staring at the picture intensely, you will see a 3D on that plane picture, right? In the same way, if you have to go to the next level in terms of moving away from the mind, you have to intensely focus on the Ajna chakra. As you are seeing with your eyes, here you are focusing with your mind, and at that point the mind will go blank. In fact, your Brahmarandra will start giving you vibrations. You will see that there is something, that sensation over here, or you may feel that some fly has entered your head over there. That kind of a vibration you will get. So intensely focus on this Bhrumadhya and lift your mind. And in that state, you are giving the statements of all this anatma. I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. Okay. What do we realize there? We realize that you are not the Triputi. Triputi is that tripod where there is an experiencer, there is an experienced, and in between is the experience. Experienced means ED and CE. Okay. So you are none of these three. Now we are something, isn't it? Now if I'm eating something, I am the one who is eating. There is food in front of me which is the eaten, And the process of me consuming that food is known as eating. So these are the three aspects to every act. Now you have to become a pure witness. That is the point over here. Coming out of this Triputi means you have to make sure that you become a witness to each and every act in your life. Now, as I told you, whatever suits you, one or more or all, you have to practice constantly. But what is required here? That only earnestness is required. Rest God will take care. It is for Him to appear before you. He can appear anytime before you. Our minds are already, our mirrors are already polished. What we have to wait is, we are waiting for Him to come and stand in front of the mirror so that it appears in the mirror. Correct? So now for that you have to constantly show that I am working towards reaching you, O Lord. Rest is all is in your hands. Okay? Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Come, with this we start the Anatma Bhava meditation. All of you, please relax. If you need to get up for some time, please get up. And then again, sit comfortably, head, neck and spine in a straight line. Take a few deep breaths. Let's do the Anulom Vilom to activate our brain. And then we do the Brahmari. Let's start with Anulom Vilom. Brahmari. Now each one has an option to do your meditation following the squares and the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. This is primarily to bring focus and concentration, bringing the wavering mind to one point, which is the Ajna Chakra, Bhrumadhya. I will chant the first 12 mantras, and thereafter straight we get into the Anatma. Let's start. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Now let's start the Anatma Dhyana, discarding each and every organ of our body, and clearly establish that I is nowhere in the picture. Everything is created by the Almighty, and everything is sustained, facilitated, and made to operate by that consciousness Almighty. So there is nothing that you as the individual, that aham, I, me is doing over here. So let's get that straight. The moment we get out of this I and me, you are one with the divine. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Shrotram Samarpayami. The ears and the faculty of hearing does not belong to me. It belongs to the Creator, Almighty, Prakriti. Everything that this jiva is able to hear is all happening in consciousness, by consciousness, and only through consciousness. I is a complete hoax, a falsity, a reckless illusion with no existence of its own. It's all that Paramatma and Paramatma alone, appearing as everything. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Tvak Samarpayami. The skin and the perception of touch does not belong to me, it belongs to the Creator, Almighty Prakriti. All that the skin and perceptions of this jiva are happening in consciousness, by the consciousness, and only through the consciousness. I, as a aham bhava, has no role to play in this functioning of the skin and its sense of touch. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityormukshiyamamritat Chakshuhu Samarpayami. The eyes and its sense of sight does not belong to me, it belongs to the Paramatma, Prakriti, Creator. I have done nothing to make these eyes, nor I have any power to ensure the functioning of these eyes. All these are happening in consciousness, by consciousness, and through consciousness. Do this meditation intensely. Now you are fighting against the power of Maya, that ignorance, that illusion which has been there from millions and millions of years and births. You can fight only with God's grace. Ishvara. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityormukshiyamamritat Jihva Samarpayami. The tongue and its sense of taste does not belong to me, it belongs to the Ishvara, Prakriti, Creator. All the perceptions of taste, sweet, hot, spicy, pungent, salty, bitter, all these perceptions are happening in consciousness, by consciousness and through consciousness. I have no role to play in this. I am just a witness to all these perceptions of taste, sight, touch, and hearing. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityormukshiyamamritat Granam Samarpayami. The nose and its sense of smell does not belong to me, it belongs to the Creator, Prakriti, Almighty. Every perception of smell is happening only because of consciousness, and consciousness alone. I am a mere witness to all these perceptions of smell, taste, sight, touch, and hearing. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. The power of speech, the hands, the legs, the genitals, the anus. They do not belong to me. They belong to the Creator, Paramatma, Prakriti. It is He who has created each and every organ with dexterity. It is He who has been giving the power for all these organs of speech, the movement of the hands, the movement of the legs, the functioning of the genitals and the anus are all happening only by the power of consciousness. I, as the Aham Bhava in this Jiva, is a falsity, is only a hoax. I now understand that this experiencer is none other than that consciousness alone, and I substitute this I as the witness. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Pranam Samarpayami. The vital airs in my body, Prana, Pana, Vyana, Udana, Samana, all these vital airs and its functions do not belong to me. It belongs to the Creator, Almighty Prakriti. It is He who decides when the prana has to enter a jiva and when it has to exit from this jiva. These pranas are functioning only because of the consciousness. I have no role to play in the vital airs of the body. I am a sheer witness. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Manaha Buddhi Chitta Ahankara Samarpayami. The mind, the intellect, the memory and the ego, all these do not belong to me, they belong to the Creator, Paramatma, Prakriti. Due to ignorance and delusion, I thought all these are my property, and I was thinking that I can use them the way I want, and they are functioning because of me. But now I know what a kind of fool I was to think in this manner. I completely surrender to the Divine. It is you who has got all these into existence as a jiva, a conglomerate, body, mind, senses, jiva, and with your consciousness you are operating this jiva. which has distanced itself from the Paramatma, Ishvara, and to this Jiva, ignorant Jiva, you are now giving the knowledge that you are none other than the Paramatma. You are an essence of the Paramatma. You are a wave in the ocean. Just as a wave becomes calm and still, no sooner it becomes calm and still, it becomes the ocean. It is no more a wave. In the same way, this Jiva, after having transcended the mind and the ego, merges with the Supreme Consciousness as the Paramatma itself. Tattvamasi, I am that. That thou art. This Jiva and Paramatma are one and one alone, appearing differently. If you carefully see now, the I is no more existing. Keep telling your mind, I am this infinite consciousness, existence consciousness, which is unmanifest in nature, is manifesting through this body and Jiva and operating through this body and Jiva. There is no I or me in existence. It was by the power of Maya, Ahankara was a part of this Jiva. Now with the grace of that same Paramatma who had created the Ahankara in this Jiva, has given this Jiva the knowledge and has driven away the Ahankara from this Jiva, resulting in aparoksha anubhuti, the unification of the Jiva and the Paramatma in the true sense. Be in these divine thoughts, come what may. Look at everything, in everything, Paramatma and Paramatma alone. That consciousness, that existence factor, that matter, that energy. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Rub your palm. Place them on your eyes. Feel the warmth. Bend your head towards the floor. Slowly open your eyes, look at the floor, and gradually raise your head, opening your eyes. Together, we offer today's Gita Jnana Yajna at the lotus feet of the Almighty and seek His grace, mercy, and blessings. Naham karta hari preranaya hari prityartam Shri Krishna arpanamastu idam namama Om Tat Sat. Good evening to all of you once again. Getting this knowledge itself is a proof of what God has in mind for this jiva. You just need to be established in it and practice it more and more so that it eventually you become that. Thank you. Happy Navaratri celebrations to all of you. Hari Om.